What's going on, everybody? Welcome to episode 101 of Boss Up Talk. How you feeling, Natalie? What's up?
I thought it was 102. It's 101.
Wait, maybe it is 102. It's 102, 102. Okay, my bad. Oh, wait, what? What's going on here?
Yeah, we're doing good over here. Excited to see what's happening today. Yay.
Oh, yeah, today's a great day. So let's just get started. So, Natalie, tell me some stuff you're grateful for, and we can just start right there.
So I am just grateful to be in the building. Super excited. I have not even thought about my wins this week. This is so crazy. But let me see what's been going on. The team is growing. I did tell y'all last week that I have a research and development team, so that is definitely we're in the process of trying to innovate and create some new programs some new programs ahead of the time, thinking about what's happening in the atmosphere and what's happening in the earth. What we are seeing as far as, it's a lot of exposure that's happening right now. People are, coming to the forefront that's not necessarily doing the right things. And it's not only limited to Hollywood. It's so funny because I was talking to my son and I said, "You should be an actor." And he was like, "No, I should not. Do you see what's going on with Hollywood?" And he's 15. He was like, "You see how they be acting with actors?" And I'm like, "Boy, what you talking about? That's not the norm." But it's been, so publicized that it's deterring people from coming in. And so I think for business, we're going to start seeing that exposure as well. Like, we're going to start seeing people who are not doing business, ethically, that's going to come to the forefront, but that's going to also position the people who have been doing business well to now rise to the top. So we are innovating and creating some things so that we will be positioned accordingly, that when our time comes, that we're not saying, "Oh my gosh, I have to prepare something. I have to make sure I have this for this particular person," that we already have the products and the services that's necessary for the people that are already coming as far as the future is concerned. So yeah, I guess I'm grateful for that insight.
I love that because I think too, if you're calling yourself a visionary, you have to have vision to see the future. The Bible talks about Joel. It's about my young men would dream dreams and visions and stuff like that. And I think that's just a manifestation of what God has already promised to us, that this is a thing, and we're in that season now. For me, this week was this week had a lot of potential to stress me out. That's a nice way to say it. This way had a lot of reasons to stress me out. But I literally had to have gratitude posted everywhere in my life. Where now I'm realizing, even with the event space, I can't deal with business. Like 11:30 to 6:30 is my thing now. Like, that's my working hours. I'm learning to, as well. We've been talking about clarity. I'm grateful for the fact that God has given me clarity on a lot of things that I didn't realize He's giving me clarity on. A lot of times too, you're working your gift, and you didn't even realize that God has allowed you to have clarity more than you think you've had. So my biggest thing now is being grateful for God has allowed me to get clarity, and He's helping me be better. I think when you're really, and entrepreneurship is hard. It's a big challenge, and especially now I'm doing entrepreneurship solely. So I'm learning to just really learn and pivot immediately. Like, once I see something happening, I need to pivot immediately, and I need to really think about what's going on. Because what happens is, when you really don't analyze your life and what you're doing daily, it's very easy to become stagnated and not appreciate the fact that you have an opportunity to do business. I have an opportunity to work with clients. I have opportunity to do things. And once you recognize the opportunity of being able to use your gift, you move differently when it comes to expressing your gift, right? So getting to today's topic, from vision to action, create a strategic plan. There's so it's something about realizing that you have a gift. Is another thing to realize you have to create the vision for the gift, and a part of that is creating a plan. So whenever I do gigs with my mentees, I make something called the prep list, a prep sheet. The prep sheet, it allows me to, like, so for example, last week we had two events going on, but one event we had to do a pasta station, like 5 stations, like a pasta interaction stations, right? The thing about having action stations for us is each station has to have everything it needs. So, for example, I did a challenge for my 4 mentees. I said, listen, I'll give you some extra bread for whoever does this by 11:30 a.m. before they come in. Make a list of every station, and I want to see if you know everything goes on there. So I have a pasta station. Let's say if I do an Asian station, I need to leave 4 wops, no 5 wops, because we have the lo mein, we have the fried rice, we have 3 things of satay, and then we also need the bowls for the sauces, right? So they need spoons, so they know that we need X amount of bowls, this amount of woks, this is amount of this. So it becomes a standard, right? A standard of operation. And so when you start to create a plan for your life, you have to put an SOP into place. So what are all the things that entail that you need to be successful? Because when you don't have that strategic plan, Habakkuk 2 and 2 becomes almost null and void, because it's write the vision, write the revelation down, make it plain so that anyone who reads it can run with it. So the important part about really being a visionary is not just about the vision, but is it effectively written out so anyone can carry out the plan?
And that's really good. And as you were speaking about, creating that plan, and like Habakkuk 2 and 2 says, write the vision, make it plain. That emphasized the fact that you should have clarity with the vision. I think a lot of times people try to have clarity as they're creating. I tell my one of my coaches this all the time, and she's on it. She's like, "You're talking about me." But she is so creative, and she is innovative, and she's always creating these new services and products, and she's critiquing her creation as she's creating it. So as she's writing it, she's trying to create the strategic plan at the same time she's trying to write down the vision, and then
Yeah.
you end up butting heads. So I love the fact that the scripture says, write the vision and make it plain. So, first, you want to take the time to just pour out everything, write down everything you see. And I don't think that we give enough as visionaries. They don't give it themselves enough time to just be in the future, be in the vision, to see the details, to see what the end result looks like. And then when you're done doing that, coming back and saying, okay, now how do I create a clear plan from what I saw to where I am, from where I am to what I saw in the future, and then start mapping it out. But it's just like you're in the future and you're trying to map it out at the same time, and it doesn't work. There's a clash. There's a clash in your mind. Why? Because you're thinking, how am I going to get there? How is this ever going to work? And that's what
Yeah.
happens in your heart. Like, how? And you haven't finished fully writing this thing out. So the first step is to literally write out everything that you see in your vision, to to sit in the moment and get clarity around not how to get there, but actually what you see. What do you see? Sit with that for a minute. I think that would be the first step in creating that strategic plan.
Um, I love that you said you can't create and do the vision at the same time. Now you can edit the vision while you're working in it, but trying to do that, and what happens is too, it's like it's like, for me, what you're saying is like also like a recipe, right? I can't just start cooking and not know the laws of cooking and the science of cooking, right? So I can't just bake a cake, right? And just put the oven on any temperature. I have to read the recipe. So whenever I would work with my students, the Tuesday we would do the actual lesson. So I would go give them the recipe, and I would go write it down, add notes, and I'll cook at the same time. So this way, they had the visual of me doing it, they had the recipe, and they was able to record and take their own notes. The reason why that was intentional, when they were able to do their own thing the next day, they had vision or clarity of something that worked out well, right? But then we would make it another day because we would do a demo day. And the first day was the figuring things out because this is the first time making it. So now they saw a chef do it, but I'm doing it myself. I got a visual, I got clarity on it, I got my notes, I have my videos. So now it's up to me to do it, right? So the construction was the actual demo, right? So now, as a person who's carrying out the vision, my goal now is to, as I do it, then I can edit myself because the first day, maybe I had the heat up too high. The first day, maybe I didn't cut my vegetables the way I did it because now I have a roadmap, but now it's about me doing it again, right? Because practice really, it's not practice make perfect, but it brings awareness as you practice about what to do better. So that next day they would do it, they would go in at it, right? Because, oh, I know what to do. And that would go so much smoothly because now not only do I see what to do, I've experienced it, and I know I need to edit to reach that first demo day with Chef did. What happens is with our life, I feel as though sometimes we don't reach out for clarity or to get a better manuscript. So, for example, I'm looking at IKEA mirror. IKEA is perfect for this. When you get something from IKEA or a company that everything is built in a box, the first thing you should look at is the directions. Do we do that all the time? No. Once you build it, you realize, why is it wobbling like this? Because you forgot step 3 said that you need this one ingredient, this one screw to fix that what's going on in that. But what happens is when we just jump into certain things, and it's okay to jump into certain things, but you got to at least skim the roadmap because you have no visual of what should be done. So when it comes to like working in your vision, the first thing I try to do, and it goes into the scripture, James 1 verse 5. If you lack wisdom, ask God who gives generously without finding fault, and it'll be given to you. I've learned myself to not just jump to start building, but to say, all right, God, I thank you for giving me clarity on this. I'm not sure what to do. I know I'm good at stuff, but I need your help and your guidance with this. And as you start to work out the vision and put action to it, the Holy Spirit will allow you to give you wisdom to really work your gift with excellence and not just putting stuff together and stuff is just messed up.
Ooh, okay, you know, but people need to understand how powerful what you just said was. That you're not just jumping into the vision. You are sitting with yourself and you're saying, "Thank you for giving me clarity of this vision before you dive into it." People don't realize how powerful a statement like that is. That it is a declaration to everything around you, to the chaos around you. You need to step back because clarity has entered into the room and you've declared it. It reminded me of a session I had on Monday with my students, and we were talking about sales. And before I even opened up the session, right, I said, let's decide now that we are phenomenal sales people. So I need you to put in the chat, I am a phenomenal salesperson. Now, this is coming from people who don't feel confident in selling. This is coming from people who have sold and only got 1 or 2 or 3. But the fact that we started with a new way of thinking, a new mindset, a new way of being, it opened them up so that when they received the information, at the end they said, oh my God, this is so clear and this was so simple. This is so easy. I feel the freedom of being able to walk into a room and sell. I don't feel fearful of selling anymore because I understand the information. I said, and that's partly because I'm a phenomenal teacher. But the other part is you guys were opened through the words that you recited, through what you spoke to say, this is who I am. And when you were open to that, now you invited clarity into the room. People don't realize that before you enter into creating that strategic plan, you have to make up in your mind, decide that you're going to be able to do that. Like, I'm going to get a clear path. I understand that obstacles are going to come along the way. And you said it earlier. You said opportunities. People don't realize that opportunities and obstacles look exactly the same in certain instances. What is a problem for many people, that is an entrepreneur's playground, because they're in the business of solving problems. So we are going into the marketplace, if we've decided to be entrepreneurs, looking for problems, and we're looking for specific problems that we have the solution for. So we're not in the mindset of, oh my God, everything is going to be, bad, or whatever the case may be. It's like, how can I reposition myself to see whatever it is that's in front of me as an opportunity? And it starts with identifying and declaring who you are before you enter into that space. So just that simple sentence that you said makes a huge difference, but people overlook it all the time because they think simple is not the way to make money. They think making money should be difficult and complex.
You said a lot right there. And it's just even for me too. Like, I'm always looking at a way to make resources, but the first thing I start to think about is how much time is it going to take up? Is this something that I really want to really do? Is it worth, like, because I'm gifted at a lot, but I've learned to pace myself out at acting out on what I'm good at, right? Like, I've made in my mind the first 2 months of me doing this event space, I'm just focusing on this event space. I'm not focused on promoting any other things until November because it's holiday time. I made that commitment. Well, it's almost November because I know for exact I had to give that 3 months to focus on that, so I give my full attention. Now it should be, coming together, off the ground running. And I realize sometimes we bite more than we can chew because it sounds great, but it may not be great for now. Where sometimes if you just work one thing and focus on that, you'll allow God to add the extra to it, because I don't think we stay in something for enough time. Like, there's nothing wrong with giving something 90 days. That's my cutoff for this. I'm only focused for 90 days. That's not a lot of time. And when you start, even if you have multi-gifted things, like, even too, if you just commit 3 hours of your day to this, 3 hours to that, you'll be able to really handle what you can handle and say, you know what, I really can't handle this. The past weeks I've been working with my team with certain things, but I realized that I've been neglecting certain things that are important to me in my own life, my own business. And I said, okay, cool, this week you can't do that. Next week you can't do that, because you have to make sure you're staying on track for what God has told you to do. And I think sometimes too, we are naturally like, let's do this, let's work out, I'm down. Sometimes you get so excited about being excited with that you realize that, wait, no, you can't do that right now. You're not meant to do that right now. So once I really started to really pay attention to that, I started to say, you know what, you got to be accountable for your time, because you're not really being as productive for what God has called you to do. And that's a problem. The Bible talks about Ecclesiastes 3 verse 1, Ecclesiastes 3 verse 1. It says there's a time for everything and a season for activity under heaven. Like, even with the best plans, unexpected situations can occur, but you have to always trust that God's time is perfect and be open to making adjustments along the way. Some things do not go as planned, but that doesn't mean the vision is wrong. It just sometimes you need more time to adjust or take a different approach. Like, you have to be flexible, because it's a crucial. You got to think that sometimes when you're starting something new, it takes a minute to adapt and pivot. You might not get it the first time, but you got to keep going, right? Vision The vision is perfect, but the actions toward it may not be perfect, right? Like the vision is the clarity part, but it's about getting to the vision to make it manifest is where mistakes happen. You realize, you know what? I need to edit my actions toward the vision if I want it to come to pass. You know, and one thing that you got to realize that two things my mom always said to me. Well, one thing, said that don't despise small beginnings. Another thing that I've always realized is delay is not the now. Some opportunities are to refine your skills and your strategies. That right now, you know, I got to realize that okay, this is something I want to do, but let me think of the best plan possible, practice it out, and then edit along the way. Because what you'll see is that some people have these great visions and never work in it, or some people just jump and never have a vision or even check the vision to make sure they're doing it right. So you got to have a happy medium where you are creating vision, you are creating plans, you are following your plans, and you actually are jumping out in it. Because sometimes the only way you can know if the dream is going to work is if you try it out. You know, we talk about Steve Jobs. His idea was to get a phone in everybody's hand, and now I'm a computer in every home. Now we have a computer in mostly everybody's hand. So we're just thinking about that vision was this, but it expanded as you went along. But it takes you time to start doing something. It took Natalie said she's a mom CEO and to write a book to be the clarity coach. Like the vision expanded. You know, it took me making cakes at my mom's crib to me having an event space. You know, like things build up, you know, and I'm also excited to realize that it's not just here because I already know my next thing I want to work on. This is not the final place. So now I got to keep realizing that, hey, it's going to happen. It's going to work out. Um, but strategy is the bridge between vision and reality. Strategy is the bridge between vision and reality. So that, like being like strategic and having a strategy is always going to be the way of success. Stop operating, and this is just talking to me too. Like I stop operating that wing it mentality. Sometimes you can razzle dazzle, but there's sometimes you got to know what you're talking about. You know, and like my final because I finished my master's, and my final presentation, I presented it to my professor. He's like, you know what you're talking about, but there's some areas you got to work on. And I'm like, man, my razzle dazzle didn't work as well as I thought it did because I got to know what I'm talking about. Now I got to really study my presentation and come from a real place so the ability is there and they can see not only my passion, but the numbers and everything to match it. So when it comes to vision, like you got to realize that strategy is the bridge between vision and reality.
I love that. Strategy is the bridge. But if you wing it enough times and you pay attention, then you will be able to create a strategy out of winging it, right? And I only say
Yeah.
that because it takes less time to make a choice and recognize that you made a mistake, take action. That's what I was going to say. It takes less time to take the wrong action and correct it and take the right action than it does to take no action. And what a lot of people
Mm,
are doing is they're wasting time taking no action at all. They're sitting in their
yeah.
head, they're worrying about all the things that could possibly happen, they're creating a plan and then they don't like the plan, they rip it up and they revise the plan and they have 17 additions. But if you don't take action on anything, right, if you don't take action on the vision, it will never become a reality. And sometimes taking the wrong action is the action that you need to take in order to find the right action. just take
Mm,
just take action. The beautiful part about doing business with God that I love is he's already embedded the fact that we're going to make mistakes into the plan. When he created Adam and Eve, do you not think he knew that Eve was going to eat the apple, give it to Adam, and the whole thing would collapse? That's why he said, before the foundations of the earth, I already slayed the lamb. Like
mm,
the decision was already made to put Jesus on the cross before he even said, let there be light. So when he calls us to entrepreneurship, he already knows that we're going to make mistakes and it's already embedded in the time frame. So us sitting here and waiting, like, oh my God, should I, would I, maybe I can't see. It's costing us time that is not calculated because you have to take the action in order for it to work in your favor. And mistakes are going to happen. Mistakes are the beautiful thing for a coach. If you've decided to be a coach or a consultant in the industry, the mistakes work in your favor. Why? You can tell people what not to do. Look, I did. I
Mm-hmm.
saw I watched them do. I did it 17 times and it never ever worked. I have the data to prove this does not work. I have the data to prove that this strategy is totally ineffective. So us taking the wrong step also works in our favor when we're consulting or when we're teaching or when we're coming back to tell you, don't take that step, baby, because it's not going to work out. So we know for a fact, if you try to and be other than you are, it's not going to work out. If you try to
Mm-hmm.
come and pretend to be some, if I wanted to come in and be like, you know what, I'm going to be exactly like Sarah Jakes. I'm going to dress like her. I'm going to mimic how she talks. I'm going to mimic how she walks. I'm going to mimic how she delivers her message. And guess what? It wouldn't work. It might work for a little time, but everybody's going to start saying she a Sarah Jakes want to be. So we
Yeah.
understand the power, and I've tried it. I didn't say specifically Sarah Jakes, but I saw people and I said, I'm going to model that person. I'm going to be like that person. I'm going to be like that person. And it never worked out until I was like, you know what? Forget it. I'm going to just be myself. However it is, I got my lips go like this. Sometimes I, be excited 1 second and then the next second I'll be like real calm. And, I'm just like going to be myself. And that has always attracted the people that were called to my voice when I was just fully operating from myself. So when we tell you to be you, it's not something that we're just saying because it sounds good or 17 other people said it, right? It's because we've tried being someone else and it didn't work. We saw
Yeah.
other people being someone else and it didn't work. We did it the wrong way 1995 times and it didn't work. So we're saying confidently, we know what doesn't work and what works. So the mistakes are embedded even into your success so that you can get to that place. And what people don't realize, the mistakes and the failure is what fuels you to go deeper and to go higher. Because a lot of the times when people find success on the lower level, they tend to stay there and coast there. So if you decided to be a millionaire, getting $5,000 a month consistently can be the thing that's stopping you from going to the next level. And God would be like, oh, it's time to go up. Let's go down. Oh, $5,000 consistently. Let's go down to 300 and see what you're going to do. And so we not even recognizing all of that is part of creating the plan towards the big vision
Yeah.
that we see, because you cannot get comfortable on your level if you want to see the vision, the big expansive vision that God has given you. And you will, like Coach Chef Jay, well, I'm calling you Coach Chef Jay, said, there are times where you have to pivot. The plan
Yeah.
sometimes requires a pivot in order for you to get to the next level.
Yeah. I like. There's something about checking yourself. There's a gift. Is a blessing in checking yourself, because what happens is too. Sometimes when you do get too comfortable, like I always like as a child, a kid, teenager, I always loved the spirit of this the book of Daniel, because Daniel was known for having an excellent spirit. And what happens is you can be the most gifted person in the world, but if you don't have a spirit of excellence to get stuff done the right way, you can blow up, but you can go right back down. And I realized the reason why I feel like I've had the most growth in my life is because I've always been open. Now I don't want to receive it all the time, but I've always been open to feedback. Even if I'm not, because sometimes like you got to process stuff. Like there's some things with feedback that you might not feel it right away, but sometimes you got to sit on it, right? Because you want to make sure you dissect it right. So I've always been open to that. And the second thing is like you really have to realize that it's just that, yo, this is a gift that God has given you. And when you realize that you have a gift, you move very differently. And I think every day I always try to have a moment of gratitude, because gratitude allows me to appreciate what I have and to go deeper into my output level, right? And I think the more grateful I am, the more open I am for God to do things, the better I am. But not only that, I seek out counsel and I seek out like mentorship. Like before this call, I had to vent to Natalie about something. But after we get into our podcast and start talking, I get clarity about stuff. I find better ways to handle it, because you got to think iron sharpens iron. And when you have a vision, you have to be okay with finding people you can trust with your vision, or trust just to talk to. Not about like you're being pessimistic, but you need sometimes people you can vent to and come up with a resolve after that. Because what happens is there's some moments where we're not fully experiencing what God has to offer for us because we're not really being genuine with ourselves. That the biggest thing for me is you got to be accountable, right? Accountability is one of the most important things as an entrepreneur because you can't blame nobody else. One thing my mom has even she's always getting on me about this because I'll say, well, I had a student that came in late. She said, oh, well, you should have been there an extra 20 minutes. And I'm like, but mom, I got to show you. She said, you're the face of the brand. There's no excuses. You should. And I don't even want to hear that sometimes because as an entrepreneur, if I hire somebody to work, I do expect the service. She said, it doesn't matter. You're the face of that brand. You should have did this earlier. Like, and it's true because what happens is too, no matter how like if I pay people or whatever it is, there's certain things you have to just handle or to oversee or to double check or to do stuff like this. So I've learned that being visionary means that you have to exemplify vision to everybody where you have to brand vision. Everybody should know the vision and purpose of your brand. Everybody who works with you should know what it is, right? People who are around me know that the Chef's experience is what? About the experience I'm giving you. There should be no question about that. But what happens is too, like the reason why I love school settings is because schools are strategic about making sure that vision is done every single day. Like I have this one principal that not only after we did pledge allegiance, he would say the motto of the school. It was branding. It was branded like Dr. Rashawn Mickens taught me about. We would talk about Ram Ready, and we had I forgot what the acronym was, but it was the thing where every single day he said it. We even made a chant about it at our school song because the reality is, in order to get people to go along with your vision, you have to be so gun ho about it that you make people believe it. And there are a lot of times when it comes to entrepreneurship, when it comes to our belief system, we're so lackadaisical that nobody believes what you got. They don't believe that you're this. They don't believe this. Like I'm so passionate about what I do with culinary. People know that I love food. Like even so, I see people talk about when they watch the stories of me with the students, how I teach them. They can say, I can tell that they really learn a lot from your class. Why? Because the conviction is there because I post it all the time. I show it. Are you making your business believable to people? Because like you wonder why you're not making sales because nobody believe what you're talking about. Nobody believed that you think this. Nobody believed this. It was this post from this chef. He's a younger guy, and he had wrote a post about, y'all really think that X amount of dollars is expensive for this? And I said, I've been doing this for 24 years as a chef, that I no longer have time to focus on what you can afford. I can tell you that this is my price. And the more you focus on, oh, family not supporting me, they not supporting me, they not supporting me, I have no time to focus on you. I have to focus on the people that want what I have. And we get so distracted by what's not selling, what's not working, that we don't ever try to reach the people that's working. Like, oh, I tried this already. Oh, this didn't work. I tried this already. Try it again. Go to a different platform. Use different hashtags. Go to different events. Because the best example of that was Jesus. He was not accepted in his hometown. He was out. He's like, they ain't feeling me. I got to go where I'm received at. And you have to be okay with going where you're received at. If this ain't the place for me to go, I'm going to go to another community. If this setting's not for me, I'm going to the next. If this coach is not for me, if this business is not for me, I'm going to go to a different business because I know I'm called to do this. So I think the more you realize what you're called to do, the more you spend time about being adamant about your vision. Nobody can out vision but you. Nobody can outwork, but like it has to be the point where people know you for what you do and they believe what you do.
Oh, that's so good. I love when you start talking vision to me. That is so, so good. Because man, just by you saying like you have to be so passionate about your own vision. I remember having a conversation with a client and she was telling me the vision and I could not like this is how one of the criteria that I use to judge whether I'm going to work with someone or not. And they tell you the vision, and you just can't. I can't see it. Then I'm like, I can't help you create a clear plan to a place that I can't see. So I was expressing that to her. I was like, hey, I know that you're excited. But I can't see your vision. I need you to say it again. And I asked, I
That's
couldn't
not
see
funny.
it. Why you laugh?
And you go
But I
and
couldn't.
because you can always see stuff. One thing I know about you, when you process stuff, okay, X, Y, for you to say that I don't see it,
I
it had
can't
to be
see
confusing.
it. But then I said it's not the receiver's responsibility to be able to see the vision. It is the giver's responsibility to utilize their words with clarity so that whoever is on the receiving end can see the same picture in their mind that you're trying to portray. And so we as the visionary, we don't take time to clarify our language and our words so that when we speak, people are moved to move. We're thinking that it's their responsibility. Like you said, you're passionate about your vision. You're showing up and you're doing the things because you're passionate about your vision. And you're not expecting anybody to outpassion you on your vision. That's the same
Yeah,
way any visionary needs to be. Any person who has a vision, a big vision, a vision that God has given them to see something, you can expect to be like, all right, 2-3 words, and somebody be like, oh, cool, I get it. And even if you get to that point, because that's what we want to get. We want to get to that point where we say the least amount of words possible and people get it. But that means you have to be concise. That means you
yeah,
have to be clear. That means you have to be sitting with that thing on a consistent basis. That means you have to be passionate. That means you have to know this thing inside and out, that you can repeat it so that other people can repeat it too. That means you have to constantly be speaking it over and over and over and over, because he who reads it will run. Are you even reading your own vision, or are you expecting somebody to know what's in your head? And it never works out that way. You don't just get to show up and just be like, this is what I'm doing one time, and then expect people to follow you. No, you have a responsibility as the carrier of this vision. As I am a mother and I had to carry my baby for 9 months, I can't tell my husband that he needs to eat right and he needs to do this. I'm the carrier of the baby. I'm the one that needs to eat
yeah,
right. I'm the one that needs to do all the things to make sure that I'm getting bigger, that I'm doing the right stuff for the baby, so that when the baby is born, it's a healthy baby. And we do it all
yeah,
the, not we, they do it all the time. As visionaries, you're expecting somebody else to come in and carry your baby when it's your responsibility to grow the baby inside of your womb, which is in your mind, and use your mouth. And people don't like to talk because here's what we've been told: keep quiet, don't say nothing. You heard what Chef Jay said. Find people that you trust that would allow you to open up your mouth and say what you need to say, will allow you to open up and just get things out, and you'll be able to clarify it later on. But that will just let you be you in the moment, because clarity also comes in conversation. You cannot have clarity with things whirling around in your head. The vision cannot stay in your head and become clear in your head. It needs an outlet. That's why it says write the vision and make it plain. It needs an outlet. Read it so that he
good.
who reads it may run. It needs an outlet. The vision needs an outlet. And when you refuse to let it out, guess what God does? Give it to somebody else. That's why a lot of people during COVID said they wanted to do X, Y, and Z. And when they didn't do it, they saw somebody else doing exactly what they wanted to do. You think it was only 1 or 2 or 10 people that wanted to do charcuterie boards? I'm saying that wrong. But some people said, I don't care. I'm going to start doing charcuterie boards. And now they got whole charcuterie boards businesses, right? Because some people said, I don't care if they've done it before or they doing it again. I have this vision and I'm going to bring it to pass. You need to take action in order to create the strategic plan. The plan is going to start when you start moving one step forward. Yeah, you can create a plan, but you're not going to know if the plan is effective or not if you don't move. It's time to stop sitting in what could, would, maybe, shoulda, coulda be, and actually do something about it to say, that doesn't work. Yes, that works. Yes, that works. Yes, that works. Start taking action. That's how you're going to create better action if you start taking any action to begin with.
Hmm.
So,
That was good. Ah, That's good. Like you have to put action to it. Like the time that you have to start being excellent, and you can't make no excuses about it. You have to be excellent. You have to at least try. Like just try to be have an excellent spirit. Things are not going to be perfect. Like even too, I was talking to my sister Kim, and she was at the event space at the event last week, and she was like, "Josh, I know you spoke about this, but just to be in it is just crazy because I've known Kim since I was maybe because she's my sister's best friend. I've known her since I was like 5. You got what I'm saying? So she's seen the whole growth. She's helped me sell dinners at her job when I was only selling like $10 plates. So she's been around. So that just to see this, it just gives hope to other people. And it's just dope because she was like, I'm so freaking proud of you because this is stuff that you've been working on, you've been talking about it. And I had to realize too is every day I have to be intentional about stopping what I'm doing and be grateful for the space I am. Like I have to have gratitude because I'm like, wait, hold on. I'm living in a part of my vision that it has been manifested. So I'm already thinking about the next thing, but I'm being so grateful because like 2 spaces in one, I'm still excited about that. Like the fact that it's only like probably like 50 days in. And it's just like the way, like even to like the way it's being booked. This lady literally walked up yesterday to the door and knocked on it and booked for an event. you know, even to like I had another person who I was about to make an alteration to our most expensive package. Maybe I need to do this for holidays. And then next as soon as I was saying that, somebody walked in yesterday and said, "Oh, our budget is this. We good." And I'm like, "Nope, I'm not going down on I'm not doing the offering now because I know that it will sell." So I think it comes to a point where it's like you have to trust the vision God has given you and don't penny pinch it. Like once somebody starts talking, nope, this is my price. You know what I'm saying? Like you have to be standing with that because when I can see if you're just starting out, but I'm not a new entrepreneur. So it's like uh, you have to do market research. That's one. You got to do market research on your product, but you have to stand firm to say, no, I'm worth this. Because you know what it is? When you stand in it, you have to constantly show it to people. Because you can say you're good at stuff, but I have no proof of it. So like you gotta show it because that's why being on social media, showing up with your product, showing up with your stuff is so important because now if I'm seeing the price of it, I can see I said, oh, he does that too. Oh, he does that. Okay, now you talking now I'm seeing the value. But we talk value, but we don't show enough value. You have to show value in every space that you expect to win in. If you don't show up with value, I like because even too, I feel as though like with when COVID happening, there's such a rise of entrepreneurship, which is great, but there's also a rise of unprofessionalism that is just like, oh, they doing, I'm gonna do it too, and there's no direct clarity of it to where you start realizing that, wait, hold on, no, this is the vibe, like this is the reason why. So now you got people who are imposters. And honestly, for me as a chef, it makes it not hard, but it makes it more unrealistic for what people are expecting for certain values. I'm like, no, this is my price. This is what it is. And if you show your value, people will always book you. So just kind of wrapping things up. You want to realize that strategy is the bridge between vision and reality. Uh, it's what helps you take your vision from just an idea to something tangible. You want to see God's guidance, set intentional goals, and build a strong support system. You got to remember that there will be obstacles, but with perseverance, faith, in a clear roadmap, you can turn your vision into reality. Next week, we're going to be talking about maintaining momentum and staying on a course when things get tough. Because listen, let's face it, the entrepreneur journey is not always a straight path. You gotta do detours, you gotta do backflips. Sometimes you gotta, walk over hot coals. It's just different things, but it always builds character. It builds wisdom. It builds wealth. And we are here to see you win. So, anything else to add, Emily? So, guys, remember to share this with other people. It's about really making things happen. Closed mouths will get fed. If you need coaching, ask for help. And we out.